The Great Depression was a worldwide economic disaster that happened when the stock market crashed. We are specifically talking about how it affected the city of Chicago. This period of economic turmoil took place from 1929 to 1939. Life for citizens suddenly became very difficult when the stock market crashed in October of 1929. Many people's stocks ended up becoming worthless. There were very few jobs available, and many people were going hungry as a result. Many children were suffering from malnutrition, and many people were becoming homeless. There was a depressing mood and feeling for 10 years in the city. Many unpaid workers, unpaid teachers, and even angry housewives started setting up protests and strikes. Even though these protests and strikes were a step in the right direction, we still had not formed unity and still had not developed a leader. During the Great Depression in Chicago, many local citizens and programs came together to influence FDR's New Deal program and ease the suffering of Chicago's citizens. These actions and support systems left a legacy on the community to
A lot of things were specifically happening in Chicago at this time. Many people were homeless, and when Chicago's brutal winter set in, people would turn to lodging house on North Union Avenue for warm cots and a roof over their heads. Men would also work at a relief station where they would sell packets of seeds for people and farmers to plant vegetables. When people started setting up protests and strikes, they realized that the government should be affecting their lives in a positive way and that they had so much control over their happiness. Chicago relied on manufacturing, so it was hit with the hardest nationally in that sense. People set up tax strikes and different organizations and programs came into effect. Chicago had the help of the Roman Catholic Church, which provided support and food for many people. Unions were set up by the new Congress of Industrial Organizations. People united themselves in the city regardless of race or gender. As a result of these public strikes, the new tax laws that had been enforced in the city were destroyed. The Democratic Anton Cermak got rid of the Republican mayor, who divided the city according to race. Edward Kelly then became our new mayor, and he helped reserve funds to repay the teachers and ensure new jobs. However, even though these people were contributing their time and energy into ending the Great Depression, it just wasn't enough. When hope was fading, Franklin D. Roosevelt was sworn into office and became president.
FDR had a lot of ideas when he was first sworn into office, but they didn't all lead to instant success. FDR encouraged agencies and programs to be indulgent and generous with funds for big cities suffering like Chicago. He set up a direct work relief program. This end result had the government spend about 1.5% on relief. In turn, this averaged to about $1.67 per person. Those citizens that I mentioned earlier that were setting up strikes and protests and such were very angry about this whole ordeal. Then FDR created the New Deal, which is basically where a wide variety of federally funded programs were advocated by him. These programs were an aid to fixing and restoring the American economy, especially in big cities like Chicago.
Real legacy is about viewing a person in history in a particular way based on their famous, bold, or heroic actions. Franklin D. Roosevelt was determined to help and end the Great Depression, and he did. He wasn't successful right away, but the main thing is that he never gave up. People were looking to him for assistance and for him to save them. FDR thrived under the great pressure that was thrust upon him, and he rose like a real leader. That's what his true legacy is about. Edward Kelly truly fought for the city of Chicago during this difficult time. He repaid teachers and workers who were owed money and helped unify the people of Chicago to end this horrible time and fight for their rights. Of course, those citizens who set up soup kitchens, homeless shelters, and participated in strikes and protests made a difference. They also stood up for what they believe in, which is characteristic of a leader with an amazing legacy to carry on for generations to come.
Now, the type of leader you become affects what kind of legacy you will carry on. Sometimes the type of leader you become is perceived differently after a long period of time. Either way, when dealing with a difficult time, you having leaders in unity will help you solve the problem and in return give a legacy that you will be proud of.